Welcome to the Goofy Getaways Podcast, the show where travel planning becomes part of the fun. Here we share expert guidance, real experiences from our travel advisors, and thoughtful conversations designed to help travelers feel more confident before they ever leave home. I'm your host, Amy Blades, founder and CEO of Goofy Getaways, and each week we'll be bringing you insight, strategy, and support that turns good trips into unforgettable ones. What exactly is a travel advisor? The reason that we really wanted to talk about this is because I feel like there are travel advisors everywhere, and I mean that truly with a lot of respect. I'm not trying to throw shade, but I don't think that people understand what travel advisors do. So I know there are a lot of agencies out there and you have a lot of choices, but since this is our podcast, I'm going to tell you what it is that we do and what we do different. So let's jump right in. I really want to talk about what the biggest misconceptions are about travel advisors. I mean, I obviously have thoughts on it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts first.
I've got very strong feelings about this one particular thing. And Amy knows because she hears me talk about it all the time. But a lot of times you will see travel advisors out there or people out there even just talking about their travel advisors saying, well, Disney or insert whatever vendor destination that you're talking about, they pay them. So you're paying the same price whether you book with them or not. I honestly, this grinds my gears so much because the thing is when you hire a travel advisor, the whole point of hiring a travel advisor is that they are helping you with your trip. They're not a booking agent. They're not just there to book your trip and like Costco, right? Like you go to Costco if you want to just book your trip and that be done and you're doing all the rest of it, right? That's not what travel advisors do. Yes, we do get commissions from our different destinations and things. And yes, that price is the same for you because those destinations do build those in, but that's not why you book with a travel advisor. They're there to guide you. They're there to help give you their expertise so that you can navigate decisions. Like that is probably one of the most valuable things is take Walt Disney World, for example. There are over 25 resorts. And if you have no idea or know anything about Disney World and you find out that there's 25 resorts and that's just the Disney resorts, that doesn't even include all the hundreds of hotels that are in the surrounding Orlando area.
Absolutely.
That's incredibly overwhelming to look at that and try and decide like, okay, well, what's actually right for my family? And so having someone who is familiar with all of those and can know like what your family preferences are and the way that you guys travel, like being able to help you navigate that and suggest resorts that you're actually going to like, those are those valuable pieces that a travel advisor does. So yes, a lot of times you're going to see out there, well, you might as well just book with them because you're paying the same price either way. But I challenge you to go beyond that because that is not just what we do.
You pay for what you get, right? Like that's the big thing too. And the thing that drives me crazy in my team hears me say this all the time. I think that travel advisors are underrated also because when you're like, you can just book with them. No, you're not booking with them. It's exactly what Kayla said. You're booking a service. That's what we are. We're a service. Like, yeah, we're going to help you get your trip planned and booked. But what we are responsible for as travel advisors, you guys hear me say it all the time, it's an emotional connection. People are investing money, they're investing time, they're investing their family. And I think it's a big misconception about what we do and the emotional component that goes to that. We are truly investing in the memories that these people are going to have forever. And, you know, Costco, I'll say it, it's a really sore spot for me. Yeah, you might save a little extra money here and there, but I guarantee you are not going to have the same experience.
Yeah, you get to Disney and you're trying to figure out your lightning lanes and you have no idea what you're doing. And then I would like to see you text Costco and have them tell you how to use lightning lane because I can guarantee that they won't be able to do it.
Yeah, and I do. I just think that that's a huge misconception. It just drives me nuts.
I think people feel like they're losing control of their vacation. Like, I'm not able to do things myself, or I'm going to have to call you for everything. And that's not true in most cases. You still remain in control of your plans. You still have access to the various vendors' apps and whatever they may be. We can just guide you through how to use that and how to help you with that. Of course, there's many things we can do for you. And I think it's just people, they get a little bit nervous that they're going to have to call us for every little thing and they can't make decisions on their own and things like that. So I think just the misconceptions about what we do are just so wild some days. So I can just do it on my own better. I can just do it on my own better and easier. I'm not here to make it more complex. I'm here to take the complexity away. Like, your vacation is hard enough.
Have you ever had, so I'm a prime example of if I know like somebody's traveling and if it's an acquaintance, that's one thing, a good friend or family or like a friend, parents of your kids' best friends or whatever. And like I'll see somebody at Disney and I'll like reach out to them like, how in the world are you there? And I didn't know. I would have loved to help you plan your trip. And one of the things they say is, I know, but we just really love doing things ourselves. And I'm like, look, this is the deal. I have clients that want me to book every single minute of every single day. And then I have people that are like, hey, look, you know what? You do everything. And another one will be like, no, I want to do everything. And I think
I love doing
is
it with you.
yeah, that's the best part, right? That's the connection. And I say that right in the beginning when I meet with the guest, or I'll be like, okay, I want you to know this is your trip. And I think that something else is there's a misconception that trips are going to be planned according to each like advisor. And I'm going to tell you, there is no trip that is the same. It doesn't matter, even if it's your same client repeating it. So you're going to get a different experience no matter what, but I don't plan every single trip the same. I might say, oh, you know what? These are like my favorite 3 rides at Magic Kingdom that you need to do, but not all of us do that. I think everybody does things according to their client. All right. What do you think people assume like our job really is? Like sitting at the computer and hitting buttons all day? Because I'm telling you, I don't know how many people are up at 7 a.m. to book dining or working on the weekends or on holidays to make sure that their clients got the the lightning lanes. I'm sorry, it's lightning lanes that they wanted. Or I just think that there's so much that goes into it that people have no idea. What do you think? Does anyone ever have you ever heard anything that they assume that you actually do? And you're like, no.
Well, I know for me, because I am an Orlando local, right? I am in the parks quite a bit, a lot. And I would say that's actually a pretty common, it kind of goes into that idea of misconceptions is a lot of times you see travel advisors out there and they're on these cruises or they're in the parks and they're like, I'm working from Magic Kingdom and whatever. And I won't lie, there are definitely times I like to go work at a resort or go do something because I want to get out of my house. But like, I'm not just going and having fun I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Being a travel advisor is pretty fun. But there are also hard moments and it is very, very hard work and it's very time intensive. It's very research heavy. You have to be available sometimes around the clock, depending on when your clients are traveling and what they're doing. And I think people forget that it's not just booking a trip and then forget it. It's like, just like anything, there is work that goes into it. Or like for me, like, yes, I'm in the parks all the time, but a lot of times I'm there because I'm researching, which sounds so silly, but like
No.
The other day I went to go do all the Cool Kids Summer stuff because there was new Cool Kids Summer stuff, but there's a new Jesse's Roundup review thing in Magic Kingdom. Very cute, by the way. If you have little kids and you need some AC this summer, adorable. So much fun. But the way they made it sound, I was like, are they turning Diamond Horseshoe into a character meal or a show? Or like, what is happening? And so I was like, I'm going to Magic Kingdom to go figure out like what this actually is so that I can tell my clients, now I know what it is. I'm like, okay, it's just a little come and go thing. It's actually not a restaurant right now. You don't need like a reservation. There's no line for it. It's really, really great for this age to this age. Those are the kinds of things that I do when I go to the parks. And a lot of times as travel advisors, when we take trips and stuff, right? Like, yes, of course, they're always for fun. But sometimes they are work too, where we're going and we're learning the product. Just like any other business out there, you have to learn your product. And so for us, it just happens to be travel destinations, particularly Disney, because that's what our agency specializes in.
Yeah, I think one of the next trips that we do, honestly, that is like a work trip and kind of talking, because Kayla and I think we travel together and we do kind of park stuff together, and even like I don't know if it's a blog or a video or something about actually following us for a day in the park, because 9 times out of 10, do we have fun together? Absolutely. But the both of us are workaholics and we work a lot. And there are so many times that we do go to the park to make sure that we're getting and learning. It's not just about taking a picture and it's not just about like the content of that. It's actually knowing what it is you're taking the picture of. I think a good example too, though, Kayla, when you did the Cool Kids Summer, you did the new Bluey thing, which I was so glad because there were a couple pieces of that you had explained to me that you'd benefit for your clients to be able to tell them so that their kids know. I mean, there were a couple things that happened and I just think that experience being in the park, I will say it probably is one of my favorite things to like have a breakfast meeting at Magic Kingdom, and then talk about the strategy and all the things and then go try to enjoy the fun, because I do think that's the best way to help your client is when we actually do things firsthand. I don't know.
Amy and I took a conference call together. I was in the Magic Kingdom and she was
we
not.
Did.
And
we did.
We just needed to connect on something. And
I
went over to Cosmic Rays and we had that, that was when we were available. So, I mean, park time, travel time is often still work time. And I think sometimes people don't understand how emotionally connected we get to our clients, knowing it's a birthday or this special celebration or, adding that little, and it can get stressful at times because you are really dealing with big events for people, especially if we're talking about a Disney vacation. It's a lot of people, I say it's their first in a lifetime trip because you're always going to want to go back. But for some people, it may be that once in a lifetime trip, and there can be a lot of pressure with that. So
yeah, emotion, like there's so much emotion that's connected to it.
But it's great, to see the photos, when you have families traveling, you get the photos and they tell you, oh, we saw this thing that you told us that nobody else knew about. I don't know. I know Kayla and Amy, you guys are in the parks a lot, but do you ever like overhear somebody like go, I wish I had known about that, like more like with the virtual queues or the walk-up list, and I was like, you did not use a travel advisor.
And because we behave and we were respectful, we do not do this. But you don't know how many times I want to say to them, oh, like, did you book your own trip or who booked your trip?
You
because we would have made sure that.
But we don't because we can't and we're
don't.
Good.
But it does happen all the time.
All the time. And you're like, I could have helped you with that.
Yeah. I think the thing I love about being in the parks all the time is it absolutely keeps the magic for me. Disney is magic for me. And being in the parks, every time we're at the park, Kayla has to listen to me say something that I overheard, because it's those things that I see and that I watch that the magic is so alive and real. And I wish that every advisor was, fortunate enough to be able to spend that kind of time in the parks, because it really does remind you what it is that we do. And I think at least 3/4 of our agents in our agency all have full-time jobs, but they also do this, giving it the same exact attention to detail as a full-time job. So a lot of times when you're getting a travel advisor from Goofy Getaways in particular, I'm telling you that the amount of emotion that is invested and the buy-in from the consultant is incredible. I don't know. We could probably talk about that for a while. But
I would love to put Laura on the spot a little bit. So as someone who does have a job, I would love to hear a little bit about like, what does a day in your life look like as a travel advisor?
Yeah.
Balancing all of these things.
I will tell you that like report card time is rough because, I've worked all day long. I'm a teacher also. So I've worked all day long with these children. And I teach middle school math. So, some people start to get scared when I say that part. And so anyway, but then I come home and I get right on my computer and I start doing, things for my clients. Like I will check, like I'll get an email that I couldn't check earlier. So I'll come home, check that email, some kind of change that's going on that I need to inform my guests, my clients about, because they're going in a couple weeks. And I'm like, wait, here's something you need to know, just different. Or I'll get a phone call. Can you call me tonight when you get off work? I have some questions. And so I'll be answering those questions and that kind of thing. And
it takes away from what, I think the other things that you do. And I think it's important for people to realize that. I mean, it is work, like thinking about a day in the life, like you're working a full-time job and then you're going home and you're doing all of those things, making sure that your clients have what they need.
Well, I also live in Central Time Zone. So I have to wake up that extra hour earlier to book those dining. Yeah. And for Bippity Boppity Boutique, though, I only have to stay up till 11, not 12.
I do miss
that. So there's that.
Some good things about those changes. But what would you say, Trisha? Like if you're thinking about kind of behind the scenes, you're another one. You have a pretty important job. You have a full-time job and you're, a mother and a wife. But what do you think when somebody asks you, or what do you think that they would be surprised about, like getting a glimpse kind of behind the curtain?
I think how much I involve my family. A lot of times if, I have a client who is about the same age as my daughter, I'll ask Savannah, I'll be like, hey, Savannah, I have a little girl going to Disney next week. What do we got to tell her she's got to do? Or if my husband, if we are, if I'm working with a veteran who may have PTSD, hey, can you help me give some coping strategies? Can we really, help this veteran? What are the things maybe he needs to avoid or she needs to avoid? And so I try to, because it can take time away from your family. So I try to get my family to help me help my clients. And Savannah is even like, Mama, can I be in Goofy's when I grow up? So we're training that next generation. And I think for me, it is kind of giving that magic to that next generation to kind of, to keep going. And it can be a lot at times. You work all day, we got kids' activities in school. But it just comes down to it's that emotion, that excitement or that, oh my goodness, you saved me. You saved me. I didn't know about that. You got that reservation that I thought nobody could get because I am stalking the websites for you. If you want that hard to get dining reservation, I'm going to stalk it. I may not get it till the day you leave, but I'm going to get it.
What you said earlier about the best part, and I've said that for so long too, getting up at that early time or getting that reservation when you get that picture of that child or that whatever. I'm an adult and I love characters. That's the part that it was worth it, right? I mean, to me, that's the part that's like, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, or that's why we do what we do. It's just
those little
that
things.
connecting piece. Absolutely. It really, yeah. What do you think when it comes to people always talking about like the value, okay? Like the value of a trip or the value of planning for a trip. Or a lot of times people think, oh, if I use a travel advisor, they're going to be able to get that best deal for me. And obviously we monitor vacations, but I also think it's important you pay for what you get also. And we're not selling a discounted, like when somebody comes to me, I do not ask them a budget. I want to hear what it is that they want. I want to hear what experiences that they want. We can build a trip on any budget. We can really try. So I don't want that to come across that, Goofy Getaways is only booking trips that are, no, that's not what I'm saying. I just think when we think about like a price point, and sometimes people in their mind associate, well, the only reason I would book with a travel advisor is because they're going to get me the best deal. What are your thoughts on that?
I also have very strong feelings about this. I always tell my clients that I like to help them plan priorities first, not price first. And so I will often, when I do like my consultation calls with my clients or those beginning emails, I'll ask them like, what are you wanting to get out of this trip? Like, are you wanting to spend a lot of resort time? Are you wanting to have like time in your room where you can relax, or if you're on a cruise, like so that you can go and look out the window or sit on your balcony and look at the ocean? And like, what is the feeling that you want to get out of your hotel? Or are you somebody that you just straight up are like, nah, we're never at our hotel. We just sleep there and then we go do other things. Because neither of those answers is wrong. But if I just throw a resort at you without talking through some of that, you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to pick the cheaper one because duh, why wouldn't I pick the cheaper one? But that doesn't always mean that it's the best. A really great example I have, I'm actually in the midst of planning a trip for like a mother-son, like solo parent duo. But I know initially when we were talking, because she had actually been to Disney last fall and had a blast and they had so much fun. And so she wasn't like super clueless about it. Like she knew what was going on. And so she was like, we were kind of thinking about maybe doing Port Orleans Riverside because that resort looked really fun. And I was like, great, awesome. But as I was starting to talk to her, she was saying that like one of the things that was really important to her was that she just didn't want to feel stressed out. Because obviously when you're a solo parent traveling with your kid, that's a lot. And so she was like, we really want to focus on Hollywood Studios and Epcot this time. But like, I know sometimes like the buses make me a little nervous because I've heard like this and that and the other thing. And I was like, well, if Epcot and Hollywood Studios are something that's important to you, why don't we put you at, and we ended up at the boardwalk. And I was like, the thing is you can walk to Epcot and they have the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios. But I told her, I was like, did you know they also have a walking path to Hollywood Studios? It's like a good like 15-20 minute walk depending on how you do. She was like, wait, really? I had no idea that was a thing. And we ended up doing that. And she's like so stoked about it because that never would have been on her radar had I said, okay, what's your budget? I instead was talking to her like, what do you actually want? Because she's one of those that she's like, I value, like, I'm willing to spend the money if it's going to make my trip better, right? Obviously, we're not going to go like crazy. I'm not going to put her at the Grand Floridian and make her spend a crazy ton of money for no reason. But the boardwalk just made sense for what they were wanting. And so I think when we say like, we don't necessarily, you're just going to hunt for the best deal. That's not really what we're for. We're here to actually give you advice on what you're going to enjoy, because you can do a cheap resort and you can love it. or you can do a cheap resort and you could hate it. It's the
Right.
same thing with spending a lot of money at a resort. You can spend a lot of money and love it, and you can spend a lot of money and hate it. And so that's really where our discernment and being able to talk to you is so incredibly valuable.
Yeah. And I think as an agency, something I really do pride our agents with is that first conversation with a client. You can call anyone or email correspond back and forth, right? You're not going to get that same connection as having that initial conversation, because what our job is to see what is the vision that this client, this guest has for their trip. And then once we do that and you take the extra time to listen to what it is that they want, it's going to be so much easier to plan. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
One of the questions that I ask, do you like food courts or do you like the sit-down restaurants?
Such a good
The
one.
quick
Yeah, that's
service
such a good one.
versus the...
It is.
Well, I
It
mean, if
is.
somebody really wants to do the table service meals, I need to know, because I don't want to put them at, all-star music for their family
Fair.
of 5 if they don't want a food court.
Fair.
So I kind of
Yeah.
I kind of ask that question just to see
And
what's
it all
going on.
comes down to that's the knowledge of what we do, and we know the products that we sell. I think that's why it's so important, knowing exactly what an experience. And I even will talk to clients about, hey, I haven't had this experience, but I can tell you, like, I've had a client that has, or I have another advisor that has, or that's the thing that I love also about our company is there's no competition. And that's no joke. I mean, that is so true. And everybody wants to help everybody. And with the amount of agents and the experience that we have, I'm telling you, any question I think can be answered from somebody. And so
Somebody always has the answers, or,
I agree.
and we can reach out to each other very quickly through various methods, and you'll get 5-10 different answers that are super helpful. So the knowledge, you're not just hiring one person, you're hiring this whole team of people. And I tell people all the
Yes.
time, I'm like, we got agents that are doing these things all the time. People in the parks, people on cruises, they're living this, they're experiencing this. So when we're telling you things, it's because we're going and doing it. We're not just selling you something. We're researching it. We're digging in. We're getting that information. We want you to have the best information, the right information. And there's so much value to this team that we have. I know I've reached out, many times on things that I
Yeah.
just didn't know, because nobody can know everything, and then people will reach out to me, hey, Trisha, I've got this military client. Where can we point them? And, we do a really good job as an agency. And, I think you're hiring all of us. You're getting us all.
You have a team of people that are going to all kind of jump in and give you different ideas, or I don't know. I think, and Kayla and I talk a little bit about, cheapest does not always mean it's the best value. And I think that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about a cheap vacation. Let's talk about the value of the vacation, because those are two very different things. Yeah, I think that you can put together absolutely incredible, magical, memorable trips, whether you're staying at a value or you can stay at a deluxe. I mean, you can, exactly what Kayla said, you can book a trip for somebody that, a $30,000 trip, and they come back and they're like, well, that's where we stayed, but nothing else was taken care of for us. It's all about the vision that they have for their trip, knowing what it is that they think that they want, and then putting it all together for them. That's the best part of our job. I think it's my favorite part. Sometimes it's like a puzzle and you're just trying to put the puzzle pieces together. There are a lot of options out there, but hopefully we've given you a little glimpse about why Goofy Getaways would be a good choice for you. You can learn more about our services by visiting goofygetaways.com/how it works, or you can visit the link in the description. Reach out to us because we would love to help you plan an amazing vacation. So that is it for today's episode. Thank you for my guest. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each of you so very, very much. And until next time, let Goofy Getaways lead you to the magic.